And now it's time for more of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's talk hookup. This portion of the show is sponsored in part by Ford, the official truck of Let's Talk Hookup. Rancho Leonero, where your wildest Baja dreams come true. Maui Jim Sunglasses, the choice of the best captains. Shimano Rods and Reels, fish with the best. Shimano. And by Yamaha Outboards, official motor sponsor of Let's Talk Hookup. Here we go. Another great hour of Southern California's sports fishing voice. Let's Talk Hookup. Here's Pete Gray, Rock Cod Rick Mexa, and Corey Sandin.
Welcome back. Hour number 2, Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and network. Pete Gray here with Rock Cod Rick Mexa. Dave Pfeiffer from Shimano having a great show. Wow, the time's going fast.
Crazy, man.
We're learning a lot today.
Oh, that's always my favorite thing is hearing all the stuff that's coming new and different, and it's always fun.
Dave's always on the cutting edge.
It's always fun to have somebody to keep me in check on spinning gear, too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I just get to diss it for 51 weeks of the year, and then I'm just kidding. It's a good time, man. We're having lots of fun talking fishing, and again, we want to talk to you. If you want to be a part of Let's Talk Hookup this morning, 833-288-0973. That's how you reach us on Let's Talk Hookup. We haven't even hardly talked about the amazing prize that we're giving away at the end of the show today, an SLX DC reel. Somebody's getting a brand new DC casting technology reel at the end of the show. That will be another one at Fred Hall that I think you guys just absolutely blow through the roof. You know, like you were joking on our Instagram, we showed all those pictures of unloading boxes. There's lots of big boxes that are full of small boxes that season. I'm like, wow. That is just a reel that for the price you're just not going to be able to touch. You know, a fantastic reel.
That DC technology is amazing. You know, when it came out first with the Corrado DC, which is a phenomenal reel. What's the difference there between Corrado DC, SLX
Great
DC?
Question.
Yeah, it's similar to what we were talking about earlier between like Talica and Speedmasters. It's just different, a little bit different spec in terms of the reel. But SLX DC for the money it's amazing. I mean, honestly, at that price range, it's the best reel we've ever made.
Really?
And so is standard SLX, by far. A lot of people talk about
SLX,
the old Corrado Bs and everything.
Exactly.
Today's standard SLX, the non-DC version, I think is a better reel than even the Corrado B was back then. What you're getting for the money.
And I was going to say, that's coming forward a lot of years, and it's lesser money than that Corrado was. Even today, like it
really is.
It's such a no-brainer, and it's a cool reel that will combo freshwater, saltwater just fine. Plenty of reel for fishing spotties and calicos, but 100% at home. You know, with every technique fishing freshwater, it's a home run, and it's inexpensive, and I mean just everything. It's a great reel for a very proficient angler and caster, and then you can dial up the DC and give it to your son or give it to your buddy who's learning to fish. They'll make perfect casts and then be able to dial back the DC. It covers all bases.
Yeah,
and they're inexpensive.
And at Fred Hall, there's going to be some phenomenal deals.
Totally.
We can't really talk about that, but it's going to happen. It's
going to be a great reel.
It's going to be a great reel to pick one up at Fred Hall. What's the retail on a SLX DC?
The DCs are usually they usually run around $190, and the standard SLX is about $100.
$100, but still, it's the DC's technology, which is digital control, right? Yep. That's amazing.
Yeah, I know.
It's like a computer. It's a computerized reel, is what it is, really, right?
Yeah.
No battery, no nothing.
For less than $200.
Less than $200.
I'll say the crazy thing about DC, going all the way back to Trinidad DC, which is still like the cult following, coveted. Yeah. Like I don't even like people look at my Trinidad 20 DC sideways. I have been fishing that reel for I can't tell you how many years in the worst environment, saltwater, skiff, sport boat spray down. Not one time after thousands and thousands of casts has You can't put anything electrical in salt water and have it not go down. It's crazy.
It doesn't corrode. The only thing, just once in a while, you got to clean that little DC sensor
set plate
window.
thing.
That's it.
Yeah, it's awesome. That's what I'm just getting at is that DC technology is so good as far as maintenance and things like that goes. That from reels going back 15 years now, and the feature still works perfect.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Well, here's a guy that's been a busy man here, Bart Hall. What's up, Bart?
Good morning, Pete and Rick.
Hi, Bart.
Dave.
Hello, Bart. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
So recently a friend of mine said, Dave moved. Is Dave ever going to move back here? And I said, I don't know. What does it matter? He says, well, I kind of noticed that when Dave left, the bluefin fishing got really good. And I know.
It's true. and people do want to know that my schedule on that. Yeah.
That's funny.
But I have a real question for you, Dave. I mean, you
Uh-oh.
talked about the development earlier. What I'm curious about, and you probably see it, of course, much differently than we see it. But we have a lot of great companies making fishing tackle right now in the world, and they're all at the Fred Hall shows. But you seem on the research side to kind of hit home runs most of the time. What's the difference with Shimano research that puts you so far ahead of the curve? All the things you're talking about here.
I think there's two answers to that. One, we are a wholly owned manufacturing company. We're a design-oriented manufacturing company. So we do all of that ourselves in-house. We don't job that out to anybody. And then the second thing is that we have the capability, because of that, to make anything happen. And I think that's sort of where some other companies just have challenges. But because of Shimano's size and scope and history, we have the capability that if you can imagine it, we can build it.
Wow.
And I don't think as anglers, any of us have any problem with the imagination part of it, right? We can all think of stuff, but Shimano can build it. And that's, I think, what really sort of allows us to do a lot of things that some other companies maybe just aren't at a point in time, whether it be just history or investment or whatever, to be able to do. And that really comes from the diversity of our company in terms of making cycling components and fishing both, is that we really borrow off of each one to make all of our products. So I think those two things, the fact that we're wholly owned, we don't just go talk to an OEM factory and say, make us a reel. One, we imagine it. Two, we have the capability to build it. And three, we have the history of being able to do that. So I think that's what really is. We're very fortunate to be able to have that in a company behind us.
That's good stuff.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Pretty amazing.
And they're very fortunate to have a fisherman like you at the helm.
Yes, they are. Yeah,
Only when I'm making my monthly sales.
He lives it though.
I don't know that they're not. I don't feel very fortunate, or I don't think they're very fortunate if I'm missing my goals.
Well, Bart, we're very excited to have you and John Ireland in the studio next Sunday morning, 1 week from today, right? The big show.
Really looking forward to it, Pete. That's we have never done that before, so it's going to be fun.
Yeah, normally you just come in before Del Mar, but we're going to get you both sides.
That's really cool,
Del Mar
Bart.
and Long Beach. So great to have
In
you.
the new studio for me. I haven't been in this studio.
No, yeah, you haven't been here.
It's really
to the
nice
studio. It's a great spot. Yeah, for sure. You'll like it. Bart, we'll see you next Sunday. Thanks a lot for the call.
Thank you.
See you, Bart.
Appreciate that.
Well, the phone lines are absolutely packed solid. Everybody wants to talk to Dave, and why don't we jump right back into them and talk to Dan, who's calling us from El Cajon this morning. Hi, Dan. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good morning. Love to hear what you guys are saying each week.
Thank you.
I have a Tranx 400, and it's become my favorite reel. But I just want to know how often should I have it serviced and tuned up?
That's it's kind of a question back to you. Is really, it just depends on how much you're using it and what sort of care you give it along the way. I would say if you're using it a reasonable amount, that you should probably have it done once a year. Just that becomes either preventative or reactive. If you're really, really fishing it hard, you might and not maintaining it well, you might want to have it done a couple of times a year, and that's just what's going to lead to a longer life of the product. But again, I don't need to be vague. It's just some people, when they say, how often do I need to maintain it, they didn't tell me they were fishing, every single day and not, I don't ever wash it. I don't, kind of thing. But I would say for the most people that have other jobs outside the fishing business that can't fish, 3, 4, 5 days a week, that, if you maintain it once to twice a year, depending on how often you're using it, and as long as you're reasonable about rinsing it lightly in fresh water and washing it down, you should be good. And that goes for most of our products, I think.
You guys, again, stand alone in how little is required of your reels to keep them running so smooth. I just can't. That's my regimen is a garden hose at the dock a few minutes later, and then they go into the back of the truck, and then they get used again the next time, and they just. I know that I should be better about fixing them, and I know that I should be better about sending them in for service, but they just.
Well, we've improved a lot.
They're so good.
Yeah, we've improved a lot in the last few years, especially on water intrusion issues. A lot of our newer generation products compared to the old. And again, that also came with, similar to what I was talking about earlier, is just how differently people are using our products. Products that used to only be used in freshwater are now used in both. And, that's really sort of forced us to change a lot of requirements. Products that you take a Tranx 400, it was, you'd think that most people are going to use it for muskie or calico bass, and you got guys catching 50-pound bluefin tunas on it. So we have to really think about that in all the design and the engineering and, what that means in terms of so for example, something like a Tranx 400, if you're catching calico bass on it all the time, the drag's going to be smooth forever.
For the
lifetime. You're not really using it. But if you're catching 50-pound bluefins on it all the time, you're going to need to service that drag a couple of times a year. That's just the way it goes. You know what I mean? So,
one thing I would suggest to Dan is, and I want to throw a plug again, is this seminar at. It's a real repair clinic, is what it is. Bring that Talica or Tranx or whatever reel you have to the Fred Hall show in Long Beach and attend one of the real repair clinics, and you'll learn basically not only to fix it yourself, but also understand when it needs service, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Very
They'll
good.
talk to you a lot about that. They, when you look at the reel, they can tell you outright. It's like, whoa, you've gone way too long here. Or they'll tell you, what, your reel looks great. You're doing the right things, or whatever.
Yeah,
so
that's funny.
But they'll also show you what needs to be serviced.
Those guys are wizards.
Because the main things on all your reels are going to be bearings and drags.
Yeah.
Because especially bearings, if you something that you're casting a lot, what's happening is it's forcing the oil, the lubrication, the grease out of the bearing, and then that allows salt water to come in, and so you're going to need bearings eventually, or unless you service them regularly. And then similar on the drag, if you're catching a lot of tunas, or less so with a Talica, you can catch a lot of tunas before you need to service a drag. But if you're using something like the Tranx or a Star Drag, which has a smaller surface area, you're going to need to service that drag more frequently if you're catching a lot of big tunas on it. So,
Ricky, maybe we should take that clinic, huh?
I don't think you can wear out a Talica drag. I just don't. I don't.
It's pretty.
It's a lot like a Tiagra drag.
For real.
You just cannot.
I don't know that I've ever replaced a drag in a tack. And I can't tell you. I use a tack 12 for everything. I mean, for everything.
Yeah. And I, frankly, have never had to replace a drag in a Trinidad either. I mean, I know it's supposed to happen. Maybe I'm not fishing enough.
That.
You should go.
Maybe you're not. No,
right?
No, maybe you're not catching enough.
Maybe I'm not catching enough. That
There's a
could
big
be
difference.
it. Yeah, that could be it.
From what I hear, I lean toward the latter.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for that. Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks for the call very much. Hey, let's talk to the future mayor of San Diego, Scott Sherman. What's up, Scott?
What's up, Sherm?
Hey, good morning, guys, man. Good show. I got a question for your guest. I like fishing the surface iron and the popper and those kind of things, but I'm not familiar with fishing the stick bait and been hearing a lot of good things about them. How do you go about fishing that thing?
Well, I'm going to let Ricky field that one because he's put in a lot of time on them, at least on the Cold Sniper stick bait. I mean, I know how I do it, but he's caught more fish on them than me. So
it is it's my favorite of them. They're easy to get. They cast very well. That Colt Sniper stick bait, I like the 140 size, which is the larger of the two. And
Color matter? No.
I don't think so, no. I mean, just like any of us, given that every one is in stock, I usually tend to grab some sort of flash one. I really like that mackerel, and I think it's a sand eel one, but anything that's got some flash to it. And the big reason is I try to do as little as possible fishing those things. That's why I'm so excited about that flash boost that Dave was talking about earlier. For the most part, I like to cast that lure into the spot where, in a perfect world, you can physically see where the bait is balled up and that's where you're going to get a bite. But an accurate cast into a spot of fish, and I'll just sweep, I'll sweep my rod, like especially if there's like a pretty central spot of bait, that fish is marauding through, I'll try and cast beyond that and sweep the rod so that when you sweep the rod across your body, you're pulling mostly slack, and you catch up to the lure maybe like in the last 12 or 14 inches where your rod tip comes tight and kind of dart the lure through it. And then the best thing you can do with those things is to keep them in an area where they should get a bite. And you have to do very, very little. Most of the bites will just happen upon that lure hitting, maybe sweep the rod a couple times, and usually that's when your bite will come. Other than that, slow sweep with the rod and pick up the slack. Like especially if you're late to the party, that fish was up real good and then it kind of goes down. I just sweep the rod across my body and pick up the slack. Where you're turning maybe 2 or 3 turns of the handle every time you sweep the rod.
Yeah. You see the mistake a lot of people make with stick baits or poppers is they're just moving them too fast,
right?
And they don't leave it in the bite zone for a long time. Bluefin are famous for just burning up a school of bait and foaming, and then it dissipates and everyone thinks they're gone. They're not, because they will swing back through and pick up the scraps, and that's where dead sticking it. And your best sign on that is when some of those little blackbirds are still sitting there on the water, there's tuna under them.
Still there.
So you want it, a bluefin is not, in my opinion here, inclined to chase something at a rapid speed when there's bait all around them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what's unique here and different from the East Coast. The East Coast, they will move a bait pretty quickly to try to get a fish to react to it. And once he reacts to it and he's on it, he's gonna stay on it until he eats it a lot of times. But here, keep that thing as long, like painfully long.
Right.
Painfully long.
Like just let it sit and sink.
Let it sit and maybe move it a little bit once in a while, like Ricky's saying. And
then when you're done, when you feel like you've gone way too long and you do move it, sweep the rod across your body, but I mean, you're hitting that thing with 12 inches of rod.
Yeah.
You might sweep the rod a whole bunch, but what you're doing is you're pulling all that slack and catching up to it at the very end. That kind of shoots it off one direction or other, and then stop again. And so that thing is sitting and sitting and sitting and sitting, and it jumps a foot or 2 feet or 3 feet, and then stop again and let that thing sit.
Because you'll see it with stick baits and poppers that when people put too much into the sweep or the movement, is it tumbles.
Right.
And as soon as it tumbles, you're done. It's just, unless there's a suicidal fish in there, if that popper tumbles or if that stick bait tumbles over itself, you're pretty much out of the game. It's not going to happen.
You can see if you cast a Colt Sniper stick bait and wind it back to the boat real fast, you can tell it's not going to be the ideal action that gets a bite. I mean, I'll be frank, they don't look like they're going to get bites at all, but I can sure tell you they get bit like a son of a gun. But if you looked at that thing in the water, I've always thought that waxwing has such a hypnotic, swing to it. Like you look at that thing, you're like, man, that thing sure looks like it's going to get a bite. You do the same thing with a Colt Sniper stick bait. If you were just going to looks, you'd throw it away. But boy, that thing gets bites so good.
Now, what's the difference between the Orca and the Colt Sniper, Dave?
There's a lot. The physical size, of course, is quite different. The profile and everything, but the Orca, especially these head dips that we're talking about, they're really designed to be pulled under, and they will have a much more defined wiggle, right? Track side to side, and then we make two different ones. We have a floating one that'll pop back up to the surface, then we have a sinking one that'll sink and sort of shimmy as it sinks, and so that's one of those ones that you just kind of got to go through a lot of schools of fish and try different actions to see what's going to work, right? And so, but there's a big difference. I mean, again, the physical profile in and of itself that's night and day different from the Colt Sniper one.
And then we have to differentiate. There's the Colt Sniper stick bait, and then there's the Colt Sniper jerk bait, which has a bill on it. Those are two completely different
I've actually
animals.
caught a lot of fish on the jerk bait, the one with the bill, doing the same thing, but with shorter ones, just a little hit, and that bill will make it just sort of kick once or twice, and then it'll sort of pop back up again. And that one's been really effective for me as well. And that comes in a kind of a different profile. You can get it in a small or a large profile with the two different sizes. But again, the point is this, we could talk forever, so it gets more confusing than it needs to be. I would go with Ricky's recommendation. You take that stick bait, you go out and do exactly what he said. Do it in a 140 size, do it in any of the chrome-based colors, and just get really good with it, and you're gonna catch fish.
I would say that the chrome ones are always the most popular, and then you always hear a ton about people catching with the bone. And the funny thing about it is the bone is always the last one to sell. Yeah. So then when the word gets out, the Colt Sniper stick bait, that's what they're on. You got to go get that thing. The bone is the last one that people can get their hands on, and they all work just fine. Yeah. And so bone becomes then it circles back and it becomes the super popular one because that was the only one that didn't get bought up by everybody, and that's the only one that's available. And then people buy it and catch with it, and they all work really good. You mentioned
waxwing, and bone was the single best color in waxwing.
In waxwing, yeah, absolutely,
best selling color in waxwing.
Yeah, for sure. Sherm, does that cover it for you?
I think you guys covered it, buddy. Can't wait to get out
Too
there
much as usual.
try it.
Yeah, man, it's not far away, is it? And I'll see you at the fundraiser on Tuesday.
Oh, you're going to be there. Good.
All right.
It'll be a lot of fun, man.
For sure.
And, on the marathon, just remember my first election I won by 54 votes. So make sure everybody gets out and votes because it does matter.
Yes, it
No doubt
does.
about it.
All right, Sherm. We'll see you Tuesday, and thanks a lot for the call this morning.
All right. Hey, let's jump right back into them. This time we're going to talk to Brian calling us from Wildemar. Hey, Brian, welcome to the show.
Good morning, guys. How you doing?
Good
morning.
Brian.
Good morning.
Dave, I got a list of questions for you. I might as well spit them all out, while I got you on the phone. Number one, when we talk about albacore, Pete always says Yes.
My favorite predictor of albacore is Pete.
Yep. Just keep predicting
them until they come. Yeah.
So on that note, are we going to get another Trinidad 40 Nero? Second question, speaking of spinning reels, I need to know which rod to match it up with. Your spinning reels are awesome. I don't have a powerful enough rod to pull on these big tuna.
Good question.
And the third question, and I don't know if you can answer, are you doing any line specials at Fred Hall Show?
Okay, so on the Trinidad 40 Nero, I can just tell you, we don't have any imminent plan on that particular product right now. So, but we got lots of other cool products. As far as a rod for your spin, it really just depends. Well, it depends a lot on what you want to do with it, like anything else. So if you're looking for, a lure casting rod, if you're looking for a bait rod, and kind of if you like longer, or if you like shorter, and so there's a million type of things. Honestly, I think the best thing that you could do is on that is come to the show or go to a shop like Ricky's and really talk to them about what you want to do with the rod, and then try to pair it from there, and especially what pound test line you're looking at fishing, what size spinning rod. But as we mentioned earlier, there's a lot in the grappler line that we introduced that would probably end up working really, really well for what you're talking about. I mean, we do anything from a 7-foot light to an 8-foot too heavy or extra heavy. So there's just really a lot in there. So it depends on if you're going to go, or if you're like a 5,000 size or a 20,000 size. And we can help you with all of that.
So let me ask you this, Dave.
Yeah.
Let's just take a setup. Okay, let's say you have a Shimano Stella 18,000, and you want to catch a 100-pound bluefin on that rig and throw Colt Sniper stick baits. What rod are you going to match that with?
I would think something along the lines of the grappler 8-foot or 8.2. We make it in a medium heavy. Mm-hmm. The rods are more powerful than they look, so probably a medium heavy or a heavy is going to balance that pretty well and still allow you to throw the stick bait. The medium heavy is going to give you a little bit more tip in throwing it, but I don't know. Ricky may have a different recommendation.
Osea 83H, like that.
83H.
That's always been
83H.
that thing.
What an amazing rod that is.
Yeah, the Grappler 82H is very similar to that rod. So yeah,
that's what I'm so excited because it, and we'll be frank that Osea, plugger, it's not cheap. It's a $500 or $600 rod. But if that's what your goal is, you said the magic word where I think it warrants making the investment is a 100-pounder. And if you want to not have limitations with spinning tackle and be targeting fish that are 100 pounds and bigger, that's where it really warrants making the investment in both Stella and Osea. I haven't had a chance to fish one of the grappler rods. From all the guys, they say that there's not much difference that you'll see in performance. But if your goal was targeting fish that are 100 pounds and bigger, for me, that'd be the.
But the price
setup.
is a big difference.
They're expensive.
They're expensive.
No
yeah.
doubt.
So
the
if you look at
are the grapplers less expensive?
Yes,
considerably.
So if you look at the Osea plugger, which is a rod that I used a lot. I mean, if you look at an 8.3 heavy, it's designed to fish 2 to 5 ounces on lure size, which is really that's a pretty broad range, right? But that's what we're using. It's 8.3. It's going to give you plenty of distance casting. We rate them based on line size. Maximum, you're going to max out at like 100-pound Power Pro or Max Quattro. And so that is certainly one of your options. But then, like I said, you look at the grappler, and all of a sudden you're in a similar range, which is an 8.2 heavy. And so, you can kind of – that's like maximum 80-pound. So you're in the same range. You can go to 82 extra heavy and get in that same range. So the point is there's some choices. And then you can pick it up, balance it with your reel, see how you like the feel. But all of these rods, grapplers, Osea pluggers, they're designed to cast lures a long way. That's where our X technology really comes into play. And they're designed to fight big fish, period.
That's it.
I mean, they're not going to bottom out on you. You're not going to be suffering from that standpoint. They're very, very light, powerful rods. Make a lot of casts in a given day, and when you hook that 100-pounder that you've been trying to get for a long time, the odds are in your favor.
You have the power.
That's what you're paying for, is the power, in my opinion. There's lots of rods that'll cast a lure plenty far, but there's not lots of rods where you don't absolutely get your butt kicked.
Yeah.
A fish over 100 pounds is a completely different animal. It's a completely different fish than a 50-pounder. I mean, in every way, and that's where the worthiness of the investment in that rod is in when fighting a big fish. It is a world of difference.
And the rod's light. So if you're casting it all day, you're not going to be worn out.
Yes.
You will be shocked at how light.
Both the grappler and the OC.
Both of them. How light that combination of like an 18,000 size and that rod is in your hand to make a lot of casts. Because on some days out here, you're going to make casts all day to get that shot at that 100-plus pound fish.
Sure.
It's not a given.
No,
right? It's just
it's
not a given.
No, they don't come easy.
No, you're gonna mess up boat position on one spot. You're gonna miss another spot, and then all of a sudden they're down for the tide.
Right.
So yeah. That's
there you go, Brian. Hope that helps you out. Thanks a lot for the phone call this morning.
Hey, with that said, it's time to find out what's going on the water with your saltwater guide. And today, our FishDope.com report is sponsored by the Fish Pros at Fisherman's Processing in San Diego. Be sure to check out Fisherman's Processing and Fish Pros the Market at the Fred Hall Show in Long Beach. They're right across from the Let's Talk Hookup booth. You can't miss them because there'll be a huge crowd always getting some of those samples of their great smoked fish and cheeses. You can purchase that smoked fish, the jerkied fish, all their great spices, smoked cheese, and all at their special show prices. Fisherman's Processing, Fish Pros the Market. They're going to be available all week, and so check them out at the show for those amazing show specials, man. It's a great one.
Indeed. And here's the mayor of the Pacific Ocean, Captain Dave Hansen, your saltwater guide.
Good morning, Dave, Pete,
Good morning.
Rick. How are you guys today?
What's up, Dave?
Hey, how's everything going?
Great.
Good?
Excited about the show.
All right. Yeah, me too. I got a few things to talk about, so it should be fun. But, hey, let's talk about the fishing. Look at Gavin went down below there and found that bluefin, got a 60-pound fish, a 100-pound fish while they were fishing rockfish. So here we go. It's getting ready to ramp up because we got another week and a half, and then we're full-fledged Fred Hall. So everything's going to start biting here really, really good. We got beautiful weather this week. We got 6 days left till the rock cod opener. Next Sunday morning, we'll be talking about all the rockfish that got caught before the show started in the morning. I'll be out on Sunday morning trying to catch me a couple reds for dinner. It's going to be beautiful weather next weekend. I've been talking about this all season long. You need to get your reels serviced and get ready for the season. Well, you got 6 days left. If you haven't got your reels in to get serviced, good luck. It's time. The fish are going to start biting. Guys are going to be out there. They're going to be fishing rockfish. They're going to probably catch the first swordfish here in the next week or so because of the fact there's going to be so much coverage out there. And then there'll be boats at Clemente over at San Nick. They're going to stumble into that giant bluefin. Everything's getting ready to start next weekend. I can't even imagine all the cool stuff we're going to have to talk about. So all I can tell you guys is you got to get out there and you got to go fishing. And I will see you at Fred Hall, and I'll talk to you next Sunday, Pete, Rick.
Indeed, and of course, stay in touch with everything at fishdope.com. $20 off a new membership to fishdope.com. Just use the code HOOKUPNOW, lowercase, no space. HOOKUPNOW is your $20 code at fishdope.com. And Dave, how do we find you other than at Fred Hall?
Your saltwater guide. Check out the website. Check out all the cool interviews. Check out all the different techniques. And stand by. We'll be at Fred Hall coming up in a week and a half. I'll see you all there. I'll have tons of free stuff to give away at all my seminars. Make sure you make a point to come by my booth and see me. I'll be hanging out, and I'll talk to you guys next Sunday.
Thanks, Dave.
I'll do my best to not run over your carpet, Dave.
Thank you. Yes, I'll see you first thing in the morning on Monday. I can't hardly wait.
See you, Dave.
See you, Dave.
All right, that's going to wrap up our catchboard. Again, sponsored by Anza Knives, handcrafting knives in the USA for over 3 decades. Come see Don and Heidi at the Fred Hall Long Beach show in the Anza Knife booth. They're going to have all of their top-of-the-line knives, all their fillet knives. The sales are including the great Bluefin and the Fish Pro series. Let's Talk Hookup listeners are also going to get a special discount just by going by the booth. Anza also offers knives for military, law enforcement, and hunting. Come by and see Anza Knives at the Fred Hall Long Beach show. Hey, when we come back, we got a lot more Let's Talk Hookup. Phones are packed up, and we're going to be taking your calls. You stay tuned. It's Let's Talk Hookup on the Let's Talk Hookup app and network.
All of us at the American Angler family want to express appreciation to our regular passengers that fish with us year after year, and to the new anglers that came out this last season. We realize how precious your vacation time is, and we are truly grateful that you have chosen to spend this time with us. It's important that your experience is memorable, from the moment you call the office to the time you step off the boat. Hi, I'm Lori. Call me at the office, 619-223-5414, or check us out at AmericanAnglerSportFishing.com. Come fishing with the American Angler family and make a memory.
Pete here to tell you about our friends Jim and Mary and their incredible crew at Poway Valley Collision. I hear it all the time. Hey, I took my car to Poway Valley Collision, and you were right. Mentioned you guys, and they gave us the VIP treatment, fixed our car, and even gave us a special price. Believe me when I say Poway Valley Collision is worth the drive from anywhere in the Southland. We know you may not need them now, but when accidents happen, it pays to go to Poway Valley Collision. And I'm not fooling. Our listeners can save hundreds of dollars on your car or truck repair. They work with most insurance companies, including Auto Club, MetLife, and Wawanesa, and more. All you do is call Jim, Mary, or any of their team members, and they do all the rest. No hassles, just top-notch work and VIP treatment. I had my car repaired at Poway Valley Collision, and the job was perfect. So get your vehicle fixed right at Poway Valley Collision, 14211 Garden Road in Poway. Check PowayValleyCollision.com.
22nd Street Landing Sport Fishing in San Pedro is home to LA's finest open party fleet, including overnights on the Freedom, Catalina Freelance on the Pursuit, half-day trips on the Monte Carlo, and three-quarter-day trips on the Native Sun. Plus, you can charter the Ultra, Spectra, and True Line. There is always plenty of free parking and a fully stocked tackle store. Take advantage of the Wednesday specials on the Pursuit and Monte Carlo, and kids fish free with a paid adult on the afternoon half-day. 22nd Street Landing Sport Fishing in San Pedro. Call 310-832-8304 or book online at 22ndstreet.com.
When it comes to fishing rods for saltwater, there's just one name you need to know: CalStar. Take, for example, the Graphiter series. It's a true graphite and fiberglass composite rod, the finest it's ever been built. And for anglers seeking traditional performance, durability, and quality at an affordable price, the CalStar West Coast series of rods and blanks are the ones for you. Their master craftsmen bring decades of rod building experience to every rod they make. So if you want your fishing rods to be truly state-of-the-art, I always recommend CalStar at fine tackle stores everywhere.
A top fleet and superb fishing is what Seaforth Sport Fishing in Mission Bay is all about. With free parking and fully stocked tackle shop, it's no wonder Seaforth Sport Fishing is a favorite among anglers. Come aboard top boats like the Aztec, Cortez, Endeavor, Apollo, Outer Limits, El Gato Dos, Pride, Tribute, Pacific Voyager, and the Voyager. Plus, the new Seaforth Sea Watch in San Diego offer the finest half and full day trips available. Seaforth Sport Fishing. For charters or regular open party schedule, check seaforthlanding.com. Run by fishermen for fishermen in Mission Bay.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Having a great time here this morning. Phones are absolutely packed solid. Man, there's so much cool info coming out today.
Yeah. Well, we learned so much about the Colt Sniper line, the Colt Sniper medals we talked about. The Colt Sniper, basically the medal, like 80 size, 100 gram, what size?
Yes.
All.
Yes. All of them.
I mean, everyone, different situation, different jig,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
This year we sold more 60s and 42s than we would have ever thought for a thing. The most popular jig for targeting an 80-pound tuna was a 60-gram or 42-gram little teeny one, and then the next week everybody wants the 120s, and there just doesn't seem to be one of those things that isn't the right answer.
Yeah. Boy, so much. It just can't wait for all this to start coming together. And I think Dave's right. It's all going to come together March the 4th.
It usually does.
Yeah, indeed.
It's almost comical seeing some of those big bluefins come over the rail on the sport boats with a 42-gram Colt Sniper in the corner of its mouth, with a treble hook, or just just seeing that's what a guy is trying to catch a 100-pounder with, is this little, a 42-gram Colt Sniper it's just nothing.
Small.
It's a couple inches long,
yeah.
But man, that's what those things are eating, and you put one of those things in the water, it's flashing as it's sinking down. That's an offshore bait fish.
Well, I really like the look of these little orcas.
The baby orca?
The baby orca.
The baby orca is going to be killer.
That is like, who would not eat that? Yeah. Come on, look at that. I wish I could.
You can't look any more like an anchovy.
Yeah, so go get some baby orcas.
And same thing, like we said, just cast it and let it shimmer down in that school of fish, and that's it. You don't have to do much to it.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's find out what's cooking. Yanni from Fisherman'sBelly.com is on the line. Good morning, Yanni.
Good morning, gentlemen. What a great show. Good morning to all the fishermen out there. And I'll tell you what, when you're out there chasing bluefin and somehow you stumble into some yellowtail, I've got just the perfect wintertime recipe for yellowtail. And it is a yellowtail fish chowder. And my fish chowder, I've got a recipe of fish chowder, which is a Boston style, which is a creamy fish chowder. But my new recipe is a Manhattan style, which is a tomato-based chowder from the East Coast. And if you guys are anything like me and you love fish soup, and before the springtime and the weather starts warming up, this is the new recipe to check out, you guys.
Oh, and I love yellowtail for sure. That sounds like a great recipe. Of course, it's at fishermansbelly.com. We'll have it up on the Let's Talk Hookup website, letsttalkhookup.com, on the Angler's Table section. And Yanni, great job, and appreciate that. Can't wait to try the soup.
You bet. We'll talk to you guys in a couple weeks.
All right. Thanks, Yanni. Fishermansbelly.com.
Bye-bye.
He does such a great job. Appreciate that very much. Now, that's one fish you do not have back on the East Coast is a yellowtail.
We have a fish, actually a fish that's exactly like it. It's called a banded rudderfish.
A banded rudderfish?
Yeah. And
really?
they get to be about, they only get up to about 12 pounds.
Okay. But does it eat as well?
Yeah, it eats exactly the same as a yellowtail.
Really?
And you can catch 1 million of them a day.
Wow.
On virtually anything.
Very different than the rudderfish, I take it, that we catch here.
Yeah. And then, of course, the other thing is, amberjack, which you can catch by any means, stick baits, surface iron, and they far, far outshine a yellowtail when it comes to the fighting category.
Yeah.
They're ridiculous. We catch you can catch a lot of amberjacks if you want to. Yeah, you could throw surface iron all day on them and catch, but I'm talking catching like 40 to 80 pounders all day
imagine.
long.
Get out of
that
here.
hurts just thinking about it.
It does. It
does.
To give you an idea how aggressive they are, I've been on schools of them where we're jigging or whatever, and you hook what we call they're just like a skipjack, but they weigh like, well, we get all different sizes, but you catch one like 12 pounds, and an amberjack eats it.
While you're fighting it.
Yeah.
What's the most common way that guys will fish? I know that's the fish that doesn't get like the press and the light bulbs, but it's so similar to yellowtail that we live out here. What's the most common way for guys to fish amberjacks back there?
Really two ways, jigging, butterfly jigging, or surface poppers. If you get over the wrecks, as soon as you shut down the motors, you look and they're behind the transom. They're right there.
Looking for
you can do
eat.
figure eights like musky fishing with a Osea plugger or the Osea head dip or a popper. Do right off the tip. You can do figure eights at the side of the boat, and they will eat it and go straight down against 40 pounds of drag and break you off.
And you'll never stop.
And you can't stop.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that's fun
cool.
stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my. Well, let's jump back in the phone.
You got it, man. How about we talk to Roy? Roy's calling us from San Diego this morning. Hi, Roy. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing this morning, guys?
What's up, Roy?
Right. I'm going to kind of change my question, but listen to everything. A lot of good information and stuff. Question, is that real repair show going to come to Del Mar? And I've got a couple of older Sitica, like the 200Es and stuff. I noticed you don't make them anymore. Is there a point where you guys kind of don't service them anymore or something like that? How long do you keep parts and whatever else?
So on Del Mar, we won't be there with the service seminars. We will still have some people there that can give you information about getting service and repair, but not the service seminars like we do at Fred Hall. And yes, with all of our reels, there's a difference. After a certain period of time on some products, we don't have parts available anymore. If it just needs a service, we'll continue to service it as long as it just needs a service, if that's just a maintenance. But if we run into an issue where it needs a replacement part that we no longer have available, that is absolutely a possibility.
And the nice thing is all of that service is done right here in Irvine.
Well, we have two facilities now. We have Irvine, for the West Coast, and then we have one on the East Coast now as well. So what that's done is that Irvine used to have the brunt of the entire country.
Country.
So, like, when the West Coast season was coming up, it would build up, but then East Coast season would lay on top of it.
Yeah.
And now we're getting more and more people from the East sending to our East Coast operation.
That's
And
nice.
so I think that's taken
faster turnaround.
Yeah, it's taken some of the pressure off the West during different peak season times.
That's good news. That's
Yeah.
great. The other thing, too, and thanks for your call, Roy. Appreciate that very much. One thing that they will have at Del Mar and as well as in Long Beach is the Power Pro knot tying area.
Oh, yeah.
The guys are there. They'll teach you how to tie different knots with Power Pro and mono or fluorocarbon or whatever. And those guys are right there next to the Shimano booth, right across from the Let's Talk Hookup booth right there in Del Mar. So that'll be in Del Mar So you want to learn some new knots from
and
the
that's
power
really
pro
important
guys.
for all the stuff we're talking about. I mean,
Yes.
if you're going to throw stick baits and stuff on these bluefin, you got to have really nice, slim, not strong knots for your Power Pro to fluorocarbon connection, and that's a really important thing to learn.
For sure. All right. Well, let's go jump back in the phones.
We
Rick.
got it. Well, they are just packed as solid as you can imagine. Dawn in Woodland Hills is up next on Let's Talk Hookup. Hi, Dawn. Good morning.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Dave, it's always a pleasure listening to you and speaking with you.
Well, thank you.
Love my Talicas. I know, Ricky's talked about them, and just, I have 5 different Talicas, and I use them all the time. Yeah. My question in looking at your website is, one, what's the difference between the Talica 2 and the Talica 2 cam? And then I noticed that you've redone the Dakota. If you could talk a little bit about that reel.
Sure. Yeah, the Talica 2 and the Talica 2 cam, the reel itself is the same. On the 20 and 25 Talicas, we never used to put a mono cam in the box with the reel. It was really only a braided line curve only. But with more and more demand on the East Coast for Talicas to fish monofilament,
Lighter monofilament.
lighter, especially 20 and 30 pound. So we started including a cam in the box. And so that translates all the way through that we actually had to create a new part number and we had to do all that kind of stuff. So there's no difference in the reel. It's just except for the fact that it now comes with a cam that in the box that's optimized to fish monofilament. It comes still stock with a braided line cam.
But the application's more East Coast than West Coast.
Well,
Unless
yes and no. I mean, you still have people like, when we do our Dacron fishing out here for Tuna Club or for Masters, monofilament and all that stuff, we use the monocams and all the Talicas for that.
Other thing that we found that guys are really liking is for, that reel is such a perfect size, call it a local trolling reel, where you're not necessarily going to catch a 500-pound blue marlin with it, but, trolling for tuna and dorado and yellowtail and all the things. That's the perfect size reel, be it a 20 or a 25. But the cam is pretty steep. When you fish a TAC 25, you're usually fishing 100-pound or 80-pound. But around here trolling, you're fishing 40 or 50. Yeah. And the cam on the East Coast or that mono cam works better as a trolling reel if you're going to use it.
Oh, okay.
If you're going to use TAC 25s for local trollers. Now you got a reel that's got tons of power as far as winding in your trolling gear, but it's an appropriate drag setting for trolling up a 30-pound tuna on a cedar plug.
All right.
Yeah, and just real quick further on that, in case a lot of people aren't following that. So, the drag curve. So if you take a Talica 20 or 25 out of the box and you dial up the right strike drag to fish 65-pound Power Pro, or if you're fishing a 60 or 80 or 100-pound Top Shot, if you take that line off and you put monofilament on with that same cam and you put on 6 pounds of drag instead of 25 pounds of drag, you're going to be in free spool if you nudge the lever at all because of the steepness of the cam itself. So that's why we really made that change. So, even for fishing 30-pound, a lot of people troll 30-pound for marlin fishing out here, and you really need to change that cam over because there's just no range when you set the drag at. All you would set it at for 30-pound is really roughly 7 to 8 or 8 pounds at strike, 9 pounds at strike. And there won't be any range on the other side of that at all. So that's why we did that.
All right, that
so all those come that way. And on the Dakotas, the Dakota line now is really entirely new from top to bottom, from the 300 all the way to the top, basically, or almost all the way to the top. And we really changed the design of it a lot to make it a lot more, and I don't always love this term, but ergonomic. It's much more, the 300s and 400s are really palmable, level wine type reels. They'd make awesome bottom fishing reels out here with the level wine. And the 300 and the 400 now have a thumb bar, and they're available with or without line counters. And then in the larger size Dakotas, they still have the lever, free spool lever, not the thumb bar, but again, also available with or without line counters. And we make them right and left-hand retrieve, and that was a big request, is the left-hand retrieve. So they would make a dynamite reel here for fishing reds, lingcod, all that kind of stuff. 5 or 600 size Dakota with Power Pro. They would get done all your bottom fishing out here in a really
Max
nice
Quattro 65.
Yeah, I mean a really nice compact size.
Nice.
So still plenty of drag for doing that, and just really easy fishing.
Perfect. All right. Thanks a lot for the call this morning. Good questions there, Don.
All right, let's sneak in another. How about Gus calling us from Burbank? What's up, Gus? Welcome to the show.
Gus.
Yo, you guys.
Hi, Gus.
Yo, Dave. Listen, I just wanted to get my facts straight here. I have Colt Sniper jigs that are jerk bait. I don't have the stick bait.
That's good to hear, Gus, because you got to get some stick bait.
Two different animals.
The jerk bait
Gus.
has a lip, like a diving lip, and the stick bait does not have a lip at all.
It's got a little dent in the forehead.
And the stick bait is the stick bait is actually kind of weighted differently than the jerk bait.
Now, does the stick bait come in sinking and floating?
The stick bait, no.
No, it's just a sinking bait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just sinking. Yeah. And the jerk bait is floating.
Yeah. So get some of those, Gus.
So what is the orca?
Oh, that's totally different.
You need some of those
sounds
too,
like
though,
you
Gus.
don't have those.
Yeah. You need some of those.
Yeah, no, the orca is a bigger profile lure, and really just it's a whole different animal, Gus, because we make the orca in a few different configurations, including topwater. So we make the orca, and then we make the orca FB, which also has that's the flash boost, and those are, and then we make an orca, pop orca, and a baby orca. So really a whole different lineup of lures, different actions, different body shape. It just really a different animal.
Best thing to do is come to the Fred Hall Show,
Totally.
go to the Shimano booth, get over to the Fisherman's Landing Tackle booth, and just buy a bunch. Just that's the key there. But the good news is, Dave, you'll be at Fred Hall.
I will be. I'll be there Friday and part of Saturday.
Saturday. So come by and see Dave, Gus. Thanks a lot for the call.
I'd love to
this
see
morning.
you, Gus. We appreciate the call.
All right. Very good.
When we come back, we're going to find out who's got a brand new SLX DC. We got more Let's Talk Hookup coming your way in the Let's Talk Hookup app and network.
It's Yamaha's Reliable Choice sales event. From January 1st to March 31st, power up with the choice of additional warranty protection or up to $1,500 in dealer credit on eligible select new 2.5 to 350 horsepower 4-strokes. For details, visit YamahaOutboards.com or your Yamaha Outboards dealer today. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Offer ends March 31st, 2020. Subject to change. Other restrictions and conditions apply. Select models excluded. See authorized participating Yamaha outboard dealers for details. Cannot be used with any other Yamaha offer.
The state-of-the-art long-range sport fishing vessel, the Independence, delivers the top quality, comfort, and fishability you look for in a long-range boat. Veteran captains Mark Paisano and Paul Strasser built this incredible 112-foot vessel with the most modern technology and luxurious comfort available. With a top-notch crew and amenities, once you go on the Independence, you'll be back. Call Independent Sport Fishing at 619-226-6006 or check independentsportfishing.com.
Hi, I'm Bart Hall, and I'm honored to once again be able to tell you about the annual Fred Hall Show, March 4th to the 8th at the Long Beach Convention Center. I am proud of our 74-year-old history. It would have been impossible in 1946 for my father to envision the majestic event that his creation would become. The Fred Hall Show is the world's largest and most exciting sport fishing show, one of the nation's most prominent boat shows, and a world-class international travel and hunting show. We honor my father's promise to entertain you all day with nearly 1,000 booths, over 400 seminars, acres of boats, and dozens of family fun activities. Kids 15 and under are always free and always fish-free. We are passionate about preserving the lifestyle of fishing, hunting, boating, and outdoor recreation that so many of us cherish. You can help by joining the Coastal Conservation Association of California, and when you purchase their special show package, you'll get in free. Join us and celebrate the passion for outdoor recreation at the Fred Hall Show, March 4th to the 8th at the Long Beach Convention Center. Presented by Progressive. Check us out at fredhall.com.
It's Fred Hall showtime, and Fisherman's Landing has the best selection and the hottest deals in the show. We have the most complete selection of Penn reels in our massive booth, including the Penn Fathom, Torque, and International. That's Penn reels and Fisherman's Landing tackle. Fisherman's Landing has been the choice of sport fishing anglers for decades, with the largest fleet of long-range boats worldwide, complemented by Southern California's finest charter and open party fleet. Now is the time to book your long-range trips and charters, plus half-day trips aboard the Dolphin. Go to fishermanslanding.com and see trip availability, and even book your trip online. Stop by or call Fisherman's Landing in San Diego and book now at fishermanslanding.com.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Hookup. Okay, it's time. The big winner adding a brand new Shimano SLX DC reel to their quiver is Kevin in Pacific Beach. Kevin, congratulations. Held on Didn't unfortunately make it onto the air, but held on the whole time. Still on the line right now, and congrats to Kevin. You won yourself a brand new reel.
Yeah, congratulations. That gives you an example. If you're just if you're in there in the queue and we can't get to your call, you're still eligible. And Kevin's a classic example of that.
No doubt.
So, thanks to all the callers for doing that. It's a busy morning there, so thanks for the participation. But most of all, thank you, Dave, for number one for running a phenomenal company, Shimano. We love Shimano. Shimano's been our partner for 25 plus years, and we're very proud to represent you and very proud to call you friends of Let's Talk Hookup.
Totally. As are we. Thank you. Can't believe it's been 25 years.
I know. Can you believe that? Yeah. That's all that gray hair we have, right?
Yeah. What a positive to end the show on. Thanks, Pete.
Yeah. Hey, we're still fishing and we're still
That's
enjoying.
right.
We're still enjoying it for sure. But hey, if somebody wants more information on Shimano,
you know what? Just hit our website. All the info's there. You can get phone lines for customer service, email for customer service, anything you need.
Yeah, indeed. And of course, see you at the show.
Yep.
At the Fred Hall show in Long Beach as well as Del Mar.
CCA. I got to put that plug in.
Oh, yeah.
Please join CCA. CCA is doing really some phenomenal things right now, and to do more, we need more support.
Yep. So join
see you
CCA.
at the show.
Do it at the show.
Yep.
And get in free for sure. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you out there. Thanks to Adam and Brian here at the studio. And we'll be going to be back next Saturday and Sunday with a couple of great shows. Next Saturday, the one and only Doug Kern from Fisherman's Landing Tackle, the guru of tackle, will be here in the studio. And then next Sunday, Bart Hall from the Fred Hall Show and John Ireland from Rancho Leonero right here in the studio. Thanks for listening today. We'll see you next week right back here on the Let's Talk Hookup app and radio network.